Live from clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30, getting results. Thank you so much for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Justin Mormouth. Tonight, the FBI can cross a name off of its top 10 most wanted list after a Central Florida police agency made a pretty big arrest over the weekend. The Lady Lake Police Department released this body camera video here of the moment they arrested Donald Eugene Fields II Saturday morning during a traffic stop.
Law enforcement tell us Fields was number 4 on the FBI's list and has been on the run since March of 2022 after he failed to appear in court in Missouri. News 6's Emily McLeod has been following this case.
This guy's on the FBI most wanted list.
Body camera video showing the moments Lady Lake Police Sergeant Michelle Bilbrey and Police Corporal Andrew Eckert took Donald Fields into custody. Fields is facing federal charges of child sex trafficking and Missouri state charges of child rape.
There is no doubt that this situation could have been different, but these officers handled it with professionalism, bravery, and their instincts paid off in a very big way.
Fields was federally indicted in St. Louis on December 7, 2023 for attempting to recruit and exploit a minor for commercial sex acts between January 2013 and June 2017. His state charges in Missouri include statutory rape, statutory sodomy, child molestation, and witness tampering. Investigators say he's been a fugitive since 2022 after failing to appear in court in Franklin County, Missouri.
We now know that since that time, Mr. Fields made changes to his physical appearance, and that was one of the ways he was able to evade detection and avoid accountability until his capture this weekend.
Lady Lake Police Chief Steve Hunt says on the day of the arrest, Sergeant Bilbrey noticed a license plate on a pickup truck that didn't seem quite right.
She also noticed not only did the plate not belong, but the sticker, the registration sticker, was a little bit off. Didn't look just right.
Bilbrey also says she noticed a few things were off about the driver's license provided by Fields.
Driver's license, registration, insurance.
The ID actually came back. It was 2 years expired. It was a real ID belonging to another person who looked similar to him, but was a decade younger than him.
Bilbrey says they continue to call in by his fake name. They eventually collected Fields' fingerprints, which led them to discover Fields' place on the FBI's top 10 most wanted.
They relied on their instincts and their investigative skills to end the fugitive's run from justice.
Lady Lake Police tell us there was a woman in the car with Fields at the time of his arrest, though she was not taken into custody, and we aren't sure of their relationship. FBI resident agent Greg Federico tells us Fields had a pattern of traveling to Florida because he co-owned a property in Tampa. Now, we don't know how long Fields has been in the Central Florida area for, but they tell us as this investigation continues, we'll learn more details. For now, reporting in Lady Lake, I'm Emily McLeod, getting results, News 6.
All right, time now to focus on something we haven't been able to focus on for quite some time, and that's how nice this weather is right now.
I mean, I want to take a walk. That's how nice it is. It's so nice. Jonathan Kegas joins us now, and I think we've earned this pattern that we're about to enter, Jonathan.
Last week was some of the crummiest weather.
Yes. Crummy.
I mean, look, I know it's colder places. I know the Panhandle got snow. But to me, this is the hot take of the night. There's no worse weather than being locked in the overcast with that fine drizzle out there and the wind blowing.
There with
Agreed.
You. Yeah.
Not to mention, we already paid the tax during hurricane season.
That's right.
It's like, where are my tax dollars going? Come on, give me that sunshine.
I thought you were about to do the Duval thing, like the new coach.
No,
If you
sir.
haven't seen that, my goodness. 10 degrees warmer at this hour in Daytona Beach than where we were yesterday at this hour. So the biggest change, at least in the past 24 hours, has been for us closer to the I-95 corridor. 5-degree difference in Orlando. We're hanging around 2 degrees warmer. So not a significant change along I-75, but you get the drift if you've been outside. Significant difference, again, from last Thursday into Friday. And then we really warmed things up as expected over the weekend. Mid-60s in Leesburg and Mineola, Lake Panisofsky. We're talking about temperatures into the mid-60s as well. We're at 65 in Bunnell, same deal in Palm Coast. Mitko, good evening. We are at 66. Few passing clouds out there. We will see clouds go back on the increase. Where we do have breaks in those clouds, watch out for a little bit of patchy fog to develop for your commute into work. That's why the moon is kind of covered up a little bit. That's the fog icon. We're going to start things off in the 40s and 50s, so seasonably cool tomorrow. And then mostly cloudy. We're going to take you hour by hour coming up at about 6:47, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Florida's Republican-led legislature is revamping immigration laws this week, rebuking Governor Ron DeSantis by overriding a budget veto. Now, they quickly ended the governor's special session and opened their own, focusing on immigration. House Speaker and Senate President were angered by DeSantis' session for what they called premature. They say a special session should be used sparingly.
It should not be stunts designed to generate headlines. And the truth is, I dislike special sessions because they inhibit the very thing the legislative process should encourage: the push and pull of meaningful conversations that lead to the development of good and better ideas.
Republican State Representative Mike Caruso, who filed a series of bills that would have helped carry out DeSantis' special session priorities, questioned the GOP-dominated legislature's clash with the governor.
What we need with immigration laws right now is immigration, is action. And you know what we've seen with President Trump and the voters in November, we had a mandate.
After ending the DeSantis-called session and opening their own session, the House and Senate released identical bills that will address immigration issues. However, with the annual regular legislative session starting March 4th, which is right around the corner, lawmakers will not use the special session to address the other issues raised by the governor.
Just days into a second term, President Trump rescinded a Biden-era policy that protected areas like churches, schools, and hospitals from immigration enforcement. That leaves public schools here in Florida preparing for the possibility of ICE agents visiting their campuses. So we asked our local school districts to provide answers about what policies are in place and if they have a plan to craft one. Most had a similar response. They do not track undocumented students or families, and they will follow the law. Adriana Rivera of the Florida Immigrant Coalition shared this advice.
I actually had this conversation with my 11-year-old yesterday. Basically, I went through a script with him of what he needs to say, which is, I will not speak to you without my parents or my lawyer present. It is my Fifth Amendment right.
The most recent data from Homeland Security estimates Florida is one of the states with the most undocumented immigrants. Rivera says many are in the workforce and have families and are working towards changing their immigration status every day. Now to a crash in New Smyrna Beach where police say a woman was hit and killed by a driver while walking with her husband.
Yeah, this happened Saturday on the North Causeway Road near the Riverside Drive intersection. They say the driver left the road, hitting the couple on the sidewalk. News 6's Molly Reed has new information from the police about the driver and what happened from witnesses.
The police here in New Smyrna Beach say that before this accident, they were already getting calls about this driver as he was the suspect in a couple hit and runs beachside with people's property, things like mailboxes, before he came over the bridge and down here. Now again, broad daylight on Saturday, this couple walking down the sidewalk just as wide as this one across the street just over there when the Ford F-250 came flying down the road and hit them from behind.
I'm scared to death. I'm like just watching anything and everything around me. He hit these two pedestrians, went through the telephone pole and ricocheted off of 5 oak trees before he stopped in front of this one across the street.
It was a close call for Kevin Buckins, standing just feet from the couple on Saturday. Now stopping back again today, emotional and wondering how this could happen.
And I was standing 2.5 feet in front of that oak tree, trying to figure out which way to run, and just made up my mind within a split second and threw my bicycle and rolled.
Now, the police have not released the identity of this couple just yet, but they tell us that they live part-time here in New Smyrna Beach and the other part in Altamont Springs. The husband, he was also injured, but he was released from the hospital shortly after they tended to his injuries. Now, about this driver, police say that the driver did stay on scene. We asked them today if he will be arrested.
We're currently still investigating that crash and will determine if any criminal charges are appropriate. So that part of the investigation will take a little bit of time as we execute search warrants and conduct analysis.
Now we know from experience that these accidents can take a very long time to investigate with all the forensics that police need to get and all the boxes they need to check before they can arrest anyone or press any charges. A small memorial has started just across the street where the accident happened. In New Smyrna Beach, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, getting results, News 6.
Time now for a look at what's trending right now on Central Florida's #1 news website, clickorlando.com. The Muppets are on the move at Disney's Hollywood Studios before they take over Rock and Roller Coaster. There's still time to enjoy the final shows of one of the park's longest running attractions. Disney announced the Grand Avenue area will start closing in May for the new Monsters, Inc. land. No final date yet for a rock and roller coaster, but Disney says there is still time for a super stretch limo ride and a glorious 3-hour finale with Muppet Vision 3D. You can find the details about plans by going to clickorlando.com. Change is hard, but sometimes necessary.
I like Monsters, Inc. a lot.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit more than Muppets, so we'll see. Here are some of the other stories trending on clickorlando.com. Neptune Memorial Reef aims to be the largest man-made reef on the planet. It's also the world's first underwater cemetery. It's located 40 feet underwater in Biscayne Bay, more than 3 miles off the coast of Miami Beach. You can learn more about this artificial reef thanks to the Florida's Fourth Estate podcast hosted by Ginger and Matt Austin. And lastly, don't miss January 2025's planetary alignment. So planetary alignment is when planets line up on the same side of the sun around the same time. There are only a couple more nights left to see them this month. That includes tonight. So you can find out which planets you'll be able to see by going to clickorlando.com.
There has been a lot to look up in the sky to see this whole month.
Just need a telescope.
Well, new details are coming out about the underage party in Cocoa Beach that's raising a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, coming up, find out what police discovered about the troubling allegations of an elementary school principal and teacher. You're watching News 6 at 6:30 live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Melbourne, the Villages, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
The underage house party that got out of hand in Cocoa Beach has even more troubling allegations against an elementary school principal and teacher.
Yeah, police told us Friday they busted a huge party at the home of Roosevelt Elementary principal Elizabeth Hill Brodigan. Also at the party the night of Sunday the 19th, police say teacher Carly Anderson was drinking around dozens of students.
News 6's James Barbero was looking to speak to them after they both went to jail on charges including child neglect.
I just got to the principal's house where Cocoa Beach police say there were about 100 teenagers drinking here, some as young as 13 years old. We now know the principal is out on bond, so I'm going to ring her doorbell and see if she has anything to say for herself if she's home. So just like Friday night when our Stephanie Rodriguez did a door knock.
We're looking for Elizabeth?
No one answered the door for me either. Now it turns out the teacher happens to live on the same street. She's also out on bond. I'm gonna see if she's home. Are you Carly? I'm looking for Carly Anderson. Carly, I just wanted to talk to you about the party, and if you wanted to give your side of the story, this would be your opportunity. A new affidavit I just got reads Anderson wasn't quiet at the party. The defendant, who is known to be a third-grade teacher at Roosevelt Elementary School, began to walk up and berate BCFR. That's when Brevard County Fire Rescue was treating an underage drinker. I also learned from the new report why all the students were wearing matching clothes. Police say it was a white lie party, and according to kids who were there, parties like this happen once or twice a month at the principal's house. I also read there were students fighting at the party, yelling at neighbors, and someone even brought a gun, all while Principal Brodigan did nothing to stop it. In fact, the police say that she had kids help her get set up for the party. While these two are on administrative leave, the school district says there's a new principal for the time being at Roosevelt Elementary School. In a letter to parents, Superintendent Dr. Mark Rendell wrote, "We hold our leaders to the highest of standards, and if these allegations are true, it's a complete failure in leadership and violation of our trust." In Cocoa Beach, Brevard County, I'm James Sparvero, Getting Results News 6.
All right, let's take you outside, give you a live look at Daytona Beach, and looking pretty nice out there, feeling a lot more comfortable than what we've been experiencing over the last, I don't know, month, although this month feels like
a year.
Well, that's January for you.
It is.
And it doesn't help when the weather is cold and kind of crummy, Jonathan.
Yeah, so I caved and turned on the heat last week because we didn't have any sunshine. That was the goal. The sun heats up in the afternoon.
Of course.
We didn't have much of that either. It's slowly coming back. I don't know how you are too. I know you like to keep the heat off a little bit.
I didn't turn it on, yeah. But I don't have to now. Look at this.
You made it. You made it. And from this point on, I would not be surprised if we are cranking up the AC by the time we get into February. Temperatures warming up big time. You felt that over the second half of the weekend as we were talking about last week. And that is going to continue to be the case going forward and then right on through at least the first week of February. Do be on the lookout for some patchy fog to develop overnight and early tomorrow morning. Don't think it's too widespread, but there could be a little bit of fog as we see some breaks in the clouds overnight. Nonetheless, we are going to continue to keep things pretty warm. By the end of this week and then into next week, we are going to be pushing 80, if not surging into the lower 80s. Here's a live look now at downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. We have temperatures now around 70. The breeze is nice and calm out there. It'll pick up a little bit with this cold front coming in from our north and west. Don't be afraid, though. This is not like some of the bigger brothers that we had over the past couple of weeks here. This is a very, very weak cold front. A couple of showers associated with it. Our biggest thing that we will notice is a wind shift back to the north and west, pumping in some relatively cooler air. And then also the extra cloud cover that we will see tomorrow. Pinpointing that right here in future clouds and rain. There's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. A few of those extra clouds again in play. And again, watch out for a little bit of patchy fog. Few stray showers try to sneak in as well, especially northwest of I-4. You see for us in Marion County, closer to Denellen, Fort McCoy, Ocala, Palm Coast, into Bunnell. We'll have the chance anyway for just a few stray showers. Again, don't be surprised if you have to use the windshield wipers just a little bit tomorrow morning northwest of I-4. Won't be much. There's 11 o'clock, though, on your Tuesday morning. We have the clouds back in play. That's when we'll see the mostly cloudy skies. We will continue to keep that with us as we move into the next couple of days. Again, temperatures tomorrow getting back into the mid-70s. We're back to the middle 70s as well over the next 3 days. Fast forwarding things out further, though, there's the 4th through the 10th of February. That warm-up is going to continue. You see the southeast corner of the United States carved out in orange and red on the scale there. The deeper and darker the red and orange, the higher the probability for above-average temperatures. And that is something that we expect to continue at least through the first week of February. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
Temperatures tomorrow afternoon going to get back into the low to mid 70s. Again, I do think we'll see a few extra clouds in play tomorrow. More clouds and sunshine. Rain chances are teeny tiny tomorrow. Only at about 10%, but not 0. And again, the highest chance relatively speaking, going to be northwest of I-4. In your pinpoint accurate 7-day forecast, look at that. By Friday, we're pushing 80 degrees, back to around 80 on Saturday and Sunday. Pro Bowl, of course, is this weekend. We're back to around 78 degrees on Sunday. Right now, it does not look like it's going to rain, even though it certainly does that almost every year that it's in Orlando. We're back to around 80 on Monday. So perfect time for weather to get its act together in Florida in time to welcome all those visitors, guys.
Put this 7-day on repeat, Jonathan. Thank you.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, in case you haven't heard, we are taking our newscast on the road and listening to your concerns. Ormond Beach, you are our next stop. We want to know which stories you want us to cover. Head on over to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad right now and fill out our form, and we look forward to hearing from you. Home prices are up, but fewer people are buying. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at what's happening in Orlando's housing market and what experts say could be ahead for 2025. And you know, Justin, this is your wheelhouse. It seems interest rates continue to be the main driver of the housing market.
Yeah, sure do, Ginger. After a pretty volatile year, the 30-year fix just under 7%. That's according to Freddie Mac. Expectations last year were that rates would now be in the low 6s, heading toward a 5 handle. Remember that. Of course, that's no longer the prediction. And as a result, sales in the Orlando area fell 7.1% year over year. That boosted our inventory to a 6-month supply, which is considered a balanced market, the first time that we have been in a balanced market in nearly 14 years. I spoke with Orlando Regional Realtor Association President Lawrence Bolito about what we can expect in our boomtown moving forward. So in 2024, the overall median home price was recorded at $385,000. That is an all-time high, up 3.9% compared to 2023. Is that going to keep going up?
Absolutely, yes. Because we have so many people moving down here from all over. I'm not even saying all over the country. I'm talking about all over the world. We have so many people relocating here. We're aware of many commercial purchases from other countries of companies coming here. So you have international buyers as well on top of the spectrum.
When you see sales down, I know that to a lot of people, that's a red flag, right?
Yes.
How do you view it?
The way I view it is just there's always something in the market that's going to cause someone to not want to buy. A lot of people like to sit on the fence because the interest rates are so high for them at the moment. So they want to wait a little bit to see if the interest rates will go down. So interest rates does play a huge role when it comes to people purchasing. As soon as it starts to go down a little bit, you'll see that the market's going to change immediately.
I'm sure this is something that you've dealt with, is that younger people, whether they're millennials or Gen Zers, maybe don't feel like they'll ever be able to buy a house. How do you approach that?
I tell them, don't think that way. Get with one of our members here at the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, and they're going to walk you through all the steps. You set up an appointment with them first, and then they're going to connect you to one of their preferred lenders. And then that preferred lender will definitely find out what's the best program for a first-time home buyer, whether it's a down payment assistance or an FHA loan or whatever's going to meet the buyer's needs.
Do you feel like that's the biggest obstacle that first-time home buyers face, is that down payment and that big money up front?
I don't think that's a big obstacle. All they have to do is just protect their credit. There's so many programs out there that requires little out of pocket for depending on the customer situation. And again, the only negative would be if they're not talking to people, they're looking at the wrong article or something saying that there's doom and gloom when that's not really true. They need to get with the local expert and go from there. Don't wait, because if you wait, you're going to miss that beautiful home that you should be living in. And don't be so concerned about the interest rates. Interest rates are always going to go up and down. And if you wait for that perfect house and that perfect interest rate, you can be priced out of a home.
All right, so we're not necessarily in what's called a buyer's market, right? But Bolito did tell me that sellers have to be the aggressive ones moving forward, at least for the time being, whether that's staging, curb appeal, making a few upgrades, anything to really separate themselves. And by the way, just want to put this out there, Orlando Regional Realtors Association, they pulled the data from Orange, Osceola, Seminole, and Lake counties, just 4 counties in our viewing area. So that's the data that we're looking at. It reflects those 4 counties. Yeah.
Okay. What I learned just from even your intro is I did not realize that it's been 14 years since we've had a market what they consider balanced.
Right. And I thought the same thing. I thought that was a massive takeaway. And his takeaway, and I asked him this, which I didn't include in the piece, I said, what was your biggest takeaway? And he goes, inventory ticking back up, and now we're a balanced market. He said that was the one worry, though, that he had is that if that inventory shrinks again, obviously that means prices go up, and if rates don't come down, it makes it even more affordable for so many people who are trying to buy a house.
So it's hard to just get the timing right. I know he says just don't wait, do it now because you'll miss out. But my experience has been there's always another house around the corner.
Yeah, I do. I tend to agree with that. And you know, when I bought a house last year, they told me date the rate, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to marry this rate because they ain't coming down.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Date the rate, marry the house. I'm like, I think I'm marrying both. So anyway, we'll be right back.
That's great. All right, are you ready for some football? Get ready for some Super Bowl excitement. One building in New York City joined in on the celebration this Sunday, lighting up the skyline in honor of the NFL Conference champions.
So Sunday, the Empire State Building paid homage to the NFL Conference winners, lit up in green right there, green and white, to honor the Eagles and their win over the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game. And then later, it turned red, honoring the Kansas City Chiefs' victory over the Buffalo Bills in the AFC side of the bracket. The Eagles and Chiefs face off in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, February 9th.
It's going to be a good game.
Going to be a good game. And now that we know who's playing in the Super Bowl this year, you can start planning those watch parties.
Oh, are you hosting?
I might. I mean,
okay,
it's
so
fun.
Justin, listen up. If you are hosting a party for the big game, you can budget about the same as last year for the store-bought food and drinks. According to a Wells Fargo report, if you're feeding 10 people a spread of chicken wings, guacamole, chips, and beer, it will cost you about $139.
I'm hosting and I have to supply all. No.
That's what hosting means. But that's just 10 cents more than last year. The cost of beer and some other food items have gone up, though, but the cost of other things have gone down, which almost balances out that total. You know, the one thing you probably will not want to serve? Deviled eggs.
No.
You can't find the eggs.
You cannot find the deviled eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the grocery store last night, couldn't find avocados.
Oh.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that is
a
guacamole.
But anyway, I just think that if you're hosting, you don't have to like supply everything,
That's
right?
not how hosting works.
Why don't
People
you
will bring
bring
you
a
some
side?
things.
Bring a side
Bring some
and then
drinks.
BYOB.
Thanks for watching News 6 at 6:30.
We're going to continue this conversation offline. We break news on ClickOrlando.com.
Maybe at your house. Bye.